Hello ladies, gentlemen, and special snowflakes of the internet. My name is Dan, and this video's topic is brought to you by the BBC. Now, if you couldn't guess by that little drop, I'm going to be talking about the recently announced Doctor Who 13th Doctor, who is going to be a woman. Now, Jodie Whittaker will be taking the helm as the intrepid Time Lord, or Time Lady as a word. And as expected, this led to a shit show on the internet. Now, while I will be covering to a small extent this new Doctor, my main focus for this video is to use that as a jumping off point for a larger topic. That topic being diversity in media. Now, I have no problem with diversity in media. In fact, it can be done good when it's done right. The key is creating a relatable and layered character who, in the case of long-running stories, undergoes development. For example, take Star Wars. You got Luke Skywalker. Starts out as a whiny kid who growing up on a moisture farm, and through his trials and tribulations becomes a competent Jedi Master. We see his personality go through changes, as well as his outlook, such as going from being very impulsive to a very calm and collected and methodical in the way he takes out the Emperor and saves his father. Now, Luke isn't the only character who goes through a character arc in Star Wars. If we look at Lando Calrissian, we see a man in The Empire Strikes Back who just wants to lay low. However, when they start threatening his city, which I guess he's kind of mayor of, Lando realizes he can't just be a bystander. He can't just, pay off the Empire and say, go, shoo, go away. Instead, he decides to join the rebellion in the hopes that one day he'll come back in free Cloud City, which he does. Now, I'm not going to talk about Star Wars. In fact, I'm going to switch to another great science fiction that does this really well. Star Trek. Star Trek, as you know, or may not know, is an episodic show which allows a lot of its main cast to grow in different situations. Since we're talking about, in relationship to Doctor Who, about having a female lead, a strong female lead, I thought I'd give you Exhibit A for Star Trek, and that is Captain Janeway from Star Trek Voyager. Janeway gives us an interesting look at a character growing from being just the boss to a more well-rounded character who basically becomes the stern but caring matriarch of a ship trying to get home. We see a relationship grow between her and her second command, Chakotay. In return for this, he ends up becoming her confidant and advisor. Even though they were on different sides at the beginning of the series, these two leading characters become good friends, as well as becoming closer to the other main characters, in effect becoming the parents of the ship. The key to this is good writing, which is needed to include good character development. While Doctor Who does have good character development and lore, as the series has been around for several decades, it runs the risk of having the issue common to passing of a mantle. A problem that can occur when you pass the mantle to a character who is a different sex or different ethnicity is you create a shallow or straw villain. The writer, sometimes motivated by personal ideology, will create an overtly sexist or bigoted character to attempt to further highlight the contrast between the hero in them. With good writings, such as in the case of X-Men, prejudice and ostracism directed at mutants is used as an allegory for the civil rights movement. Other IPs such as Star Trek also are known for this. However, there are many times that this falls flat. A good example of this failure can be expressed in the new female Thor comic. For that, I will let my friend Jeff Holiday explain that.
This is Thor. This is Thor right now. Thor is a woman. Thor is actually Jane Foster, Thor's girlfriend. At first, when I heard this, I was like, let's see how it goes. And when the first few comics came out, there was shit like this.
I ain't fighting no woman, Thor, and neither is he. Not today, at least. I'm standing down out of respect for what you're doing. Can't have been easy for you, hasn't been for me either.
Do not think this means I will allow you to flee.
I'm not asking you to. A little prison time will actually be good for me and Crusher. When we've been out too long, he starts to get a wandering eye. But just so you know, this is a one-time girl power pass. Next time you get in my way, I'll rip your head off and toss it in the Hudson.
Very well, and just so you know, I'm going to hit you now, rather hard.
Kinda thought you might.
In cases like this, we get characters who have ham-fisted motives and dialogue that comes off as preachy or freaking awkward at the very least. Are ham-fisted. In my opinion, a well-written villain makes a better hero. This can be done with a foil. A person who has similar motives as the hero uses different methods in an attempt to achieve those end goals. This is best illustrated in the X-Men. The foil to Professor Xavier is, of course, Magneto. Both men want a better world for mutants. While Xavier wishes to do this through a harmonious existence with non-mutant, Magneto sees the subjugation of non-mutants as the only way to ensure his kind's future. The reason this works so well, this is inspired by people and events from the civil rights movement from the 1960s and 50s. Now, Xavier and the X-Men clearly are meant to be analogous to Martin Luther King Jr. and those who believe that all Americans should integrate into the larger cultures and have the same rights and protections, and this should be done through nonviolent means. On the flip side is Magneto, whose actions are similar to those of black separatists such as Malcolm X, whose name, Black Separatist, says it all, and black supremacists like the Black Panther Party, who believed that the only way there was going to be change was through violent conflict. Now, my hypothesis for this whole bad writing can be best summed up by a quote from famed Studio Ghibli creator Hayao Miyazaki. In an interview, he noted, "All Japanese animation is produced with hardly any basis taken from observing real people. It is produced by humans who can't stand looking at other humans." This is the same problem that appears in Western media, especially recently in comics. Those writing about characters facing adversity likely only have the vaguest idea, and sometimes are doing it out of a personal delusion. It gives them reconciliation for past wrongs. This will lead to shallow cookie-cutter stereotype characters. By contrast, Miyazaki's films, such as Nausicaa and the Valley of the Wind and Spirited Away, are known for their strong female leads who are compelling in part because of his observation of people and their lives. His villains are whole characters on themselves. While they're in conflict with the heroine, this is in no way their only defined characters. He breaks with the stereotypical male as the bad trope and instead goes for female villains or even environmental threats as the leading drive for the character. This is plainly shows how media can employ these things with tact and nuance. Instead, many writers seem to want to give poorly written characters and retread story concepts that have been done far better in the past. The way that diversity is handled in these cases feels more like a mom who always nags you about how you need to wash behind your ears, even though you do that already. And just like how mom will get miffed when you tell her you know, those pushing these progressive stories will become saltier than the Dead Sea when you point out how clunky the material is. In the end, I will hold my judgment for Doctor Who and any other future works that have a female lead. The show and the other works could go super progressive to the point they are slamming you over the head with their narrative all the way from freaking Jupiter. Or Doctor Who can go back to being a fun sci-fi that can have subtle morality plays. All we can do is wait and see.